Donald Trump is finally hitting the 2024 campaign trail, starting with what he called a, quote, intimate event in South Carolina. But The Daily Show's Jordan Klepper spoke to some of the people waiting to get in, including these two women who insist Trump is still in charge of the U.S. military. Yes, I said that. You heard that correctly, that Trump is still in charge of the U.S. military, or at least one of them. Anyway, take a listen.
The military were put in charge in 2018 when President Trump signed an executive order.
The American military arms that are going to Ukraine, we have Donald Trump to thank for that?
No.
No,
That's
two militaries.
There's two militaries.
There's a good and a bad.
So there's two militaries. Donald Trump's in charge of the good one.
Yes.
Biden's in charge of the bad military?
That's
Yeah.
exactly right.
All right, I've got my bottle of Advil somewhere close by. This always happens, Jordan Klepper, when we have you on. My head starts to hurt. He joins us now. Jordan, two militaries. Where does this rank in terms of the more bizarre moments you've encountered at Trump events?
You know, it's up there. Although, you know, we've brought people back from the dead. There's been body doubles out there on the road. So two militaries, it's definitely creative, but we haven't summoned people back from death. So progress?
Maybe so. And what was it like? I mean, when you were there, you know, Trump is talking about these smaller gatherings as if it's a plus. You know, we know Trump and how he likes large crowd sizes, and we don't need to go down that road. But what is your sense of how his campaign is shaping up so far?
Well, it was interesting. You know, if you were expecting a spectacle, you weren't getting it there. And so it was confusing. There were people who came assuming it was a rally. Other folks called it a rally. Other folks called it an intimate event. There was definitely MAGA people who were disappointed that it wasn't this big, giant event. Some people thought it was a re-election kickoff, some a reinstatement kickoff, some a rifle T-shirt super sale. So there's confusion in the air, which should be expected with a Trump campaign. I think overall, there's hope, at least interior-wise, that this is a new, better Trump 3.0. Something that should be underlined with this event is these ideas were coming from people who went inside who were invite only. So the folks that we ended up talking to out here, most of them went inside, and they went inside because they were important enough to have invitations to be in the front row of this GOP discussion.
And I know you talked to another gentleman who appeared to be at one point calling for an elevated discourse. I think we have some of the video right here, but his hat told another story. Can you tell us about that?
Well, it's not uncommon to go to events where people talk about the things they want, and yet there's a hypocrisy that they wear on their sleeve and or cranium. And that was a situation here of somebody who arrived and talked about wanting to bring people together, that Republicans, unlike Democrats, come at this thing with a respectful dialogue and they respect the positions of power, and yet he was wearing a hat that said he could defecate a better president. We didn't challenge him on that, but we did challenge him on the inherent hypocrisy that he brought to the rally/intimate event.
Yeah, and Jordan, I have to ask you about it because I assume the Daily Show will be covering it this week, and that is the biggest story of this past week, the Chinese spy balloon that was shot down after crossing the U.S. The balloon has also brought its share of mockery. Let's watch a little bit of SNL from last night.
I entertain you people for 4 days and then get shot by Biden? Can't believe I'm Joe's Osama.
Well, I'm actually surprised you're still floating. Experts were saying you're the size of 3 buses.
Okay, ouch.
Jordan, I'm a little worried how you guys are going to be taking on the spy balloon this coming week.
Well, I think with respect, Jim, you know, a lot of people will find humor in this. Other people could see an act of war. You know, I've checked over on Fox News and I saw it purported to be an act of war. I also saw it mocked hours before, so it's confusing. But I can guarantee you the Daily Show will take it with the respect that it deserves.
I'm sure it will. And I have to ask you this. Your colleague on the Daily Show, Roy Wood Jr., has been tapped to be the entertainer at the White House Correspondents' Dinner this year. Any insights on what we can expect? Will you be outside, trying to get the pulse of the people? I'll try to slip past you unnoticed, but, you know.
I would, if Roy lets me be his +1, I will definitely be there. But there is a better chance that that goes to somebody else, and therefore I am outside. I will happily finger the pulse of anybody after his performance and try to get any kind of negative response that I can use against him. As somebody who is oftentimes sharing an office with me, this one hurts. This is a big win for Roy. He's going to be on the center stage, so whatever I can do to take him down a notch, I'll try it.
And I'm sure he'll be taking us all down a notch, which is also a tradition of these dinners. But let me ask you this, as we're heading into the 2024 campaign, and that also makes my head hurt, thinking that we are heading into the 2024 campaign this early on. I mean, what do you think we're going to see? Are you going to get out there and see other campaign events besides Trump? What does your reporter's notebook look like in terms of what you're planning, in terms of the next steps? Where are you going to be out there covering?
Well, we're excited to see how this all shapes up. Nikki Haley supposedly is having an event in the next week, and I'm very curious who shows up for that, what the dialogue around it is. On the GOP side, we're talking to folks there about what they think of DeSantis, and right now, even at MAGA events, Ron DeSantis is not the bad guy. He's not seen as an alternative to Trump. He's seen as a potential VP, and so I'm very curious to see if, as the rhetoric gets hotter within the Trump campaign, if those folks find defection, turn against somebody like DeSantis, if Haley holds any sway, like who in the GOP is the voice of the people right now? I will say from this last rally, Lindsey Graham was there, and I can tell you it's not Lindsey Graham.
Yes, I think you're right about that. But we know when you're going to be out there on the campaign trail, you will be getting the pulse of the people. That's what you do oh so well. Jordan Klepper, it's a public service whenever you get out there. Thanks so much for being with us. We appreciate it.